Hi there, welcome to a lesson on the A minor pentatonic scale, position 1. Why should you learn this scale? Simple, it is the widest used scale on the guitar there is. Who uses the A minor pentatonic scale, or pentatonic scales in general? Everybody, every guitarist out there worth his salt knows this scale and uses it all the time. Players from Robin Ford to Joe Satriani to Slash to Zakk Wylde, all of them use this scale. And it's incredibly important to know it really well. Because of that, we're going to go through it in depth. So we're going to go through the position based around the 5th fret and look at where all the notes are. We're going to go through a number of exercises so you get to learn it incredibly well. We're then going to use those exercises to create some licks so you can bring it into your playing straight away and not just sound like you're running through exercises all the time in your playing. We're then also going to look at a couple of licks which are taken basically from some really famous players so you can see how other people have utilised them. The pentatonic scale is also wonderful because you can use it as really good reference points when you're learning other scales later on, and also just by tweaking the pentatonic scale a tiny bit you can create a wide variety of sounds. Check out my other lesson on that, that's in the description below. Alright, let's get on with it. Okay, so this is the A minor pentatonic scale in position 1. We're going to start on fret number 5 on the 6th string, and we're going to play that and then the 8th fret. And then on the next string down, the 5th string, we're going to do the 5th and 7th. Same on the next one. And one more time on the G string, 5th and 7th. And then the next two strings are 5 and 8. Okay, so we're going to run down through the scale, first ascending, then descending, and each time we're going to finish on an A note on the first beat of the next bar. And the reason for that is to give us a reference point, so our ears hear the scale as the A minor pentatonic scale. So we'll be finishing on the A. So here we go, we're going to ascend. And I'm going to descend. Again, just finishing on an A note there as our reference point. Alright, a little bit quicker. And you might have noticed, if you know your bar chords already, that the A minor bar chord starting on the 5th fret here, based on the E minor shape, is present in our scale. Because we've got the 5th fret, the 7th fret, the 7th fret, and then the other 5th frets here that make the bar. So that means we can also play our A minor arpeggio, and we know that all of the notes within that arpeggio are obviously our chord tones. Now this is really important because they are our strongest notes within our scale. So it's really important to visualize that chord or the arpeggio within the scale. It's really important to kind of finish or to have your accent notes as the strong chord tones. So if we go through the arpeggio, you'll see what I mean. So starting on the 5th fret and then the 8th fret of the 6th string, and then 7th fret of the 5th and 4th string, and then 5th fret of the last 3 strings, 3, 2 and 1. And then we can also add the C at the bottom on the 8th fret here before finishing on the A again as our reference note. So nice and slowly, that means we have this. And then back up. And there we are, so that's our A minor arpeggio in that scale position. We also have obviously the 7th as well. So the 7th note is just there. So for this one, we're going to just add one extra note, which is the 7th note in the A minor scale, and that is the G here on the 4th string on the 5th fret. So we're going to include that in this next arpeggio pattern. So we're going to go 5th fret, 8th, 7th fret on the A string, 5th fret on the 4th string, and then 7th, and then 5th on the G string, 5th on the B string, but also we're going to add the G here on the 8th fret of that B string before playing the A here at the end of the arpeggio. So we have and back up. One more time. Let's go on to the exercises. We're going to start with a string skipping exercise, which means we're going to start on the 6th string, jump over the 5th, onto the 4th, go back to the 5th, jump over the 4th onto the 3rd, go back to the 4th, jump over the 3rd onto the 2nd, and so on. So that will look like this. And then descending. And a little bit quicker. And then descending again. Alright, your turn. And the next one is in groups of 3. So we are going to be doing groups of 3 strings at a time. So string 6, 5 and 4, and then 5, 4 and 3, and then 4, 3 and 2, and finally 3, 2 and 1. So that will look like this. And then back up. And a little bit quicker. And back up. And I really like doing that as hammer-ons as well. I think it sounds great like that and you can use it for lots of different stuff. Your turn again. Next one we're going to do is going up in groups of 3 notes. So your first note, second, third, and then second, third, fourth, and then third, fourth, fifth, and so on. So let's have a look at that one. And then descending. And remember, we're not trying to get these really fast at the moment at all. This is not a speed exercise. This is just memorizing and visualizing the scale, making our fingers work in as many different ways as possible around that box, around that first position. Right, the next one is a similar one, taking the same idea but extending it to groups of 4 notes. So we're going to go first, second, third and fourth notes, and then second, third, fourth and fifth notes, and then so on down through the scale. So that will look like this. And then descending. There we go. Now be careful with this one because we're going to be using a lot of finger rolling basically as we end up with notes above each other or below each other on the strings. So an example of that would be here, where I finished on the 7th fret here on the G string, and I have to come back up to the 7th fret on the D string. So if you can see my finger there, when I've played that last note, there, I then roll it upwards back to the string above it. Instead of actually lifting it and placing it, see, I don't need to lift it, I roll my finger back up. And then the same is going to happen here on the 5th fret on that B string. I'm going to have to roll it back up to get onto the 5th fret of the G string. Roll up, roll up, and so on. And the same is going to happen when we're descending. So if I start here, I finished on the 5th fret there on the D string, I'm going to have to roll down to get the 5th fret on the G string. And then the same here, I'm going to have to roll down to get the 7th fret on the D string. So just be aware of that and think about how you're using those fingers. Again, not in a rush, speed's not an issue. Really focus on just getting that right and getting the accuracy in there, okay? These first 2 licks are based on unison bends, and that just means that we're bending one string up to a note that we're also playing on another string. So in this case, in the first lick, we're starting on the 8th fret on the 2nd string here, and we're bending up a whole tone to the A note, which is here. So we're bending up. But then we're also going to play the 5th fret on the 1st string here, which is also that same A note. So that's a unison note, just means it's the same. So here we go, we're going to bend up and then hit the string below it. And then bend, hold with a bit of vibrato. And then the second lick is basically exactly the same thing, just on the next string up. So the 3rd string on the 7th fret, bending to the 9th fret on that string, and that gives us our E note. The unison there. So we're going to bend up and hit the 5th fret on that 2nd string, the E note. That's all there is to it. Nice and simple, just repeating the same thing basically on both strings. The kind of lick you'll find in blues, rock, all over the place. Everyone uses them. If you've got those 2 unison bends under your fingers, check out these variations. They get a bit more complicated each time, so take your time with them and follow along with the PDF download. And that's it. Thanks so much for checking out the lesson on the A minor pentatonic scale. That's just position 1. There is going to be a lesson also on position 2, 3, 4 and 5 and so on, and we're going to be utilising the pentatonic scales to look at all the modes like the Lydian mode, the Phrygian mode, even things like the harmonic minor scale. So stay tuned, going to be plenty of really cool stuff out there. Remember, you can get the downloadable PDF of all the licks and exercises. Just go to the website, it's going to be in the description below. You can also access the backing track that I used for all the licks. The link to that is in the description below. I also do loads of different pedal reviews and stuff. Again, link in description below. Feel free to check out all the good stuff on the website and on the YouTube channels. Alright, take care. Please like, subscribe, stay up to date for all the new lessons, and I hope to see you soon. Cheers, bye bye.